Sorry if I start. Anyway, hello everyone. So, a two-in-one kind of video. So, firstly, it's going over, the world map of the alien world that will be stuck to in the new animations, and then it's going to go on to a idea which I'm definitely going to be hopping onto very soon. First things first. Yeah, this I've made whilst I was in recovery. Some of you might have seen me and my small injury which I had, which stopped me making a lot of. Well, it stopped me making animations considering the strain I couldn't put my hand through, but I was still able to do all of this with my left hand. Yeah, it took a while, 3 weeks I believe it was. And but yeah, here we go. So yeah, before going on to the new idea, you might have seen or wonder what the other half of the video means. But firstly, we'll go through this world map first. So yeah, just giving you a good look at it, see what it looks like. And so yeah, and I think this is the updated one, isn't it? It is. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'll go to show you what each land is like, and then we can go through the races in each part as well. And so yeah, we'll get going. All right, so the alien planet you've once seen in film or part 2 and 5 of the first film I've made, yeah, Pietra, which is yeah, the name of this alien planet, which will be greatly focused on both that and planet Earth. Part 3 did introduce a moon where Dios came out of, but that is a moon that might not be revisited, although I think it might be like a cool origin story, but regardless, I'll definitely explain which one's which. And so those may have not seen the video where it was a guide which helped me form more of the what this universe used to look like, especially with a lot of the planets coming up in the storybooks and films, such as Pod's Planet Orn. There was Eninor where the Camos lived in Book 5. There was Hamo where the end of Book 3 took place, the final battle. Garth was Ozona's planet, or at least the planet he took over. Gareth was the airport planet, and so on. And a lot of those worlds I wanted to recreate or repurpose in this film as well. There was a accidental 2-in-1 kind of situation, but that I'll explain to you once I get there. But why don't we go from left to right, I reckon. So this is the new Hamo, and one idea I have thought, well, yeah, an idea I thought of once before, and somewhat still keen to continue, especially with me being very interested to see what this would look like in a pixelated way. And yeah, this is the new Hamo, and it because I'm still wondering how to use the Earth element, but I still wanted these cube beings, because Pixel, it was like the main embodiment character. You would see him in Pixel vs Rage Fire, that idea of using cubes to form things, and yeah, that animation sucks, but the whatever, I'll be utilizing these characters whenever they become relevant. Yeah, I think that could be really cool, because this is also, I think, the only land that is only made up of just this race, and it's because there'll be other creatures made out of blocks as well, so that'll be a whole heap of fun to do once this island becomes a bit more relevant. I'll need to be careful though, because you don't want to introduce something later which could harm the history of the story, so yeah, that I have to be careful of. So yeah, this is basically if you just imagine a world that's made out of, I don't know, like not digital, a very cosmic kind of Lego, just like artificial blocks, that kind of feel. Almost like the closest to the most artificial land in this whole thing. All right, so next is Orm. So yeah, our Pod's home is around again, and this one is essentially because the previous Orm was. Oh, actually, before we move on to there, Hamo in book 3, it was mainly soil, dirt, and there was cubes hovering everywhere, and even cubes implanted into the ground. And then just remember this one random temple that was there. But yeah, it will just be cubes and nothing else. So yeah, radically different. Orn, on the other hand, it was almost like the definitive water planet. You had the rivers, even floating water, which you could swim through. Yeah, it was a rather cool idea, and it was very patriotic of the Morphil race. And in this case, it's but yeah, Ornum here is it will pretty much be, yes, it will probably be the most definitive water planet, but it will also be the more wintry one as well. You know, with all of the snow and ice and maybe moments of fire, especially when because each land is more relevant to which element. Because in the original Haphazard Legion, or we'll just call it the previous version, you know, for reasons later, there were like a couple of planets that were somewhat representative of the elements, you know, like Orm with the Vibra and the water, and Hammer with all the cubes. But I didn't want to lean more into that because each faction, which there are um, 15 plus Earth is almost like 16, even that's going to be reminiscent of one of the elements as well, you know, just that whole planet. But yeah, each land is, yeah, like I said, just yeah, how many is that? I think it's if it's 16. Okay, so 4 lands representative of one element. Yeah, I think that's basically the gist of it. So yeah, this is one of the water ones, this is one of the earth ones. Okay, and so yeah, and you'll see what the races are like later on. But if you remember that the Morphils are killer whales, you know, can see how the water and the ice would be very suitable for them. And I think I'll still try and include hovering water, but it might be hard to animate when because unlike After Effects, where you can add in a whole heap of animated bits and bobs, Photoshop, like you can do that in a certain way, but with mine, it's everything's all under one movement or one speed that I have to constantly keep changing. So it'll be hard to animate both characters and background elements simultaneously. I might experiment with it, but I really struggled to do that at the time being. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, now let's hop on to the new Orivorn. So Orivorn, it was essentially Xionfor's planet, very grand, medieval, and very reminiscent of the color scheme as well, which is very like yellow, green, greys, you know, like very greyish almost, which was rather cool. I remember liking that. And that kind of aesthetic is kind of carried ahead, especially with the last part of the first film where you see what the table is like, and it's just very like grand in royalty. But instead of a floating fortress, they're hidden underneath essentially a volcano area. And as you can see, it's definitely a lot smaller compared to the others. And because you have to like wonder how much you can do with the large amount of space. But I reckon, um, you know, if this was like the size of um, or what could be like maybe like a football field, like bigger than a football field. I just remember thinking like, because if it's just rocks, lava, and volcanoes, I remember thinking, yeah, I can afford to make that one smaller. And so yeah, pretty much get the idea. Yeah, just volcano themed, and definitely has some interesting elements. There's even going to be like added skeletons to it. So if you remember the Veranic land in the previous version of Haphazard Legion, even that's going to carry over to here in some way, you know, to really make this the threatening place. And yeah, I think that'll be really exciting. You know, just almost like the forbidden location, but also the bad guys, you know, come from there, and it's almost partially isolated. Yeah, because what I think I would really like to experiment is that on Autodesk Maya, I remember when you can like wrap, um, you know, have a sphere and then you can wrap it around, you know, and I've done that with a world map. Oh yeah, of course, you have the RSA film from 2020. Yeah, I think just 2020. I think yeah, that's a good example. So yeah, I would have loved to do this map on this world, but I don't have Maya anymore, so yeah, never mind. But yeah, you pretty much get the idea here. It has, I think it's where Force Race mainly belongs, but it does have other beings as well, which I'll get to later on. So limited wildlife, but definitely massive in presence. All right, so this is the new Eninor. So Eninor was almost like a very exotic rainforest and very like very edgy almost, because yeah, there was like a whole like variety of wildlife there, and yeah, it was definitely wildlife focused, and I think the same might be said here. I think the purpose and the function of each land I'm still getting to, but I think this one, far as I can remember, I think will be very on the natural side of things. You know, as in the wildlife and the wildlife aspect, I definitely would like to put more emphasis on in this version. And yeah, so it still has like the trees are presumably the same color scheme, and yeah, very tree heavy, I guess you could say, but it's more of a swamp, which yeah, wasn't really a part of any nor but now is. So yeah, plenty of fun to have with this one. And oh yeah, so I think this one's another F1, this was blue, so this is a vibra based one as well, so water themed as well. Alright, next up is Lif. So it was originally the snake planet, as I call it, at book 2. It was a planet that Tozona briefly took over, and it's essentially like the beach planet with these really nice brick-based huts, and that kind of aesthetic will carry over here, as you can see, with the has shallow water, very beach themed with the huts and that. Yeah, I think I look forward to see that one. Yeah, I think this will be a bit more uplifting in terms of the kind of land it is. Yeah, I can see it being one of the more peaceful ones. Yeah, I can just yeah, I can see that happening. And so yeah, and I think with it being the beach, I think the water levels would go up and down quite a bit, and it's kind of suitable here as well because it's very almost like a swamp, you know, with the water very between the lands. But yeah, okay, and then this one's yeah, because what's also helping with remembering each one is that each fraction, as you could say, has a different particular color scheme, and I think in this one here, I think these guys are these blue as well, or oh, if they're darker blue, that could mean something else. So either Vibra or Forza. Yeah, Forza's air, Vibra, well, say water. Despite ice, fire and ice being in there as well. All right, this one is. Um, wait, hang on. No, this is Eninor. Sorry. Um, I think yeah, I think the previous Eninor has previously come about, but this is Sphy, and that shared the name of the Green 8 planet in Book 3, in the previous version of the story. But that was like the artificial land with the domes and that, and it looked cool, but I didn't really see that kind of land working with the kind of story I wanted to tell because I wanted to do mostly natural land. Yes, I'm looking at you, Mr. One-Off Artificial. Anyway, sorry, that was a bit much, wasn't it? Never mind that. But yeah, this one, yeah, this is the new Eninor. So this is definitely like normal forest with mushrooms and that. And this one, yeah, was inspired by Pietra, the original Pietra. Instead of being an alien planet as a whole, it was just simply one of their planets in the previous version of this first story. Um, yeah, like yeah, very woodland area. And remember the previous um, version of Pietra with the whole forest in that. They were very um, I think yeah, they like their resources to then provide everywhere, and that kind of purpose could still carry over, so that could be cool. And I like how it has that one lake as well. I think that could be yeah, rather fun to have. And so yeah, essentially the forest one and probably on the Viper as well. Now we're going on to Forza, so it is air based, and yeah, this is Concro, and this is definitely one of the lesser changed ones. You know, still these massive blocks with some water from there, and the rocks they're in like blocks, and there's the moss in that. Yeah, yeah, you do see some parts of it in the Titan comic which I've made because I kind of made Concro into the planet with the snow, but that part I probably would have dropped. I think it will have more like a rainforest condition with all the rain, but it's still like an air-based planet because with it being very tall and grand, they definitely needed a lot of wildlife that can like climb about, or at least various entities that can go all around. And let's go for a float here. So also like Concro, it's hardly changed from the previous version, and this one is pretty much made up of floating islands either on their own or linked to one another, and these floating islands are waterfalls going off one another. There's a page in the previous story in book 4 where you kind of see where I'm getting at, with the whole floating islands. Yeah, it is such a fun idea. And once again, very much. This is definitely Falls based as well. Definitely would require those who could fly or climb around. So definitely something there. And in the previous version, Concro was almost like the first aid planet, which I could carry over. This one was more of, the farm planet. Yeah, this was more food. Yeah, because they could grow all sorts. But the resources in any Nor that was more like wood and diamond even. But yeah, I'll have a good think about that. Because if you're also wondering about the world, other than one particular location which we'll get to, each aspect of land is that, when you watch animal documentaries and all the beef they have, we could say, is just like on food, home, or warmth, it will just be a bit like that, like wildlife, but slightly smarter. Like speaking a bit English and that, and and then what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so yeah, that also means the whole political, economic, social kind of things won't be as much. It'll be sensible to build that up in my version of Earth, but I don't want to do too much emphasis here. I did have some ideas where Earth could get more involved and try and lay down some laws once they get more involved with one another, but that I would like to do very slowly if going in that direction. Alright, so next up, this is Mall, which is a brand new location. It was probably inspired a little bit by Penny Nor with the tall trees very close together, and then has like an exoticness to it. And this is essentially it's just a lot of tall trees really. This is like wide and short, but yeah, these are like really tall. And you would have seen a glimpse of it in part 2 of the first new film I've made, where the green apes going around them. Yeah, it does look rather, extremely fun. And because something else I confused myself is that this is where like some of the caverns are at, but I think other locations are allowed a cave, so could it be part of that system maybe? I'll have to work that later. I kind of wish they were next to one another, but I could probably swap that right. I don't know. It'll be, I'll think about it. And then this one, dark blue. So the reminiscent of air. And alright, so this one is Vida, and the previous Vida was what did Vida look like in the previous story? Because the name was familiar. Because how does that one Vida was? Oh gosh, in fact, I'm gonna have a quick look. But it's essentially the almost like a savanna, like these really lush African savannas, around Africa. Yeah, I've been really fascinated by it recently, so I just thought, I definitely would like to like create my own version and with animals that all share the same colour scheme. Okay, Vida. It's not that one. I need to bookmark these. Got rid of that one. Vida. Okay, yes. So the end of the original book 5, in the previous story, it was a planet that the Morphals took over that. Well, they also took over Planet Orn as well. But Vida was essentially like dark blue ruins in that. Very, very boring environment actually, because it's a shame because I like ruins. But yeah, so that name is carried over, and so yeah, like I said, yeah, it's just basically like a very cool savannah. You can somewhat see the like the African savannah influence somewhat here, but it'll be made up of like different other national parks because there's the ones in America and a couple of others as well. So yeah, just definitely one of the more probably the definitive wildlife one. And then let's go to the left here. So I had originally that was going to be Chronocope was continuing, and there's Lutra that's continuing, which is basically the Titrans land and the Otters land. Um, Although in the previous version of the story they were their own planets. But yeah, when I did this story, I've presumably accidentally not had to conquer on the map. But I think I could have maybe half one of these parts somewhere. I think so. But oh yeah, because very briefly, I drew. I pretty much started in the center, knowing I wanted like the city equivalent one at the middle, and then go outwards. But the drawing was just extremely basic. So what you see is basically just slightly better than the drawing I've done here with the names and the labels, and then they did have a original template, but then as you see later on, this whole part had to be reminiscent of the planet which you have seen in the film, so it will stick to that kind of continuity. But anyway, so Lucha is pretty much out the way, so Chronocope is here, but now the Titrans and Otters are going to be together, which I think will be a really fun idea, because even the previous version of the story, did have the Otters, see the Titrans as their creator. Well, in actuality, they were their resurrectors, but it was like a fun idea which I played with very little, and I think I could still play with that idea, but I think it just depends what the story is like. I do need to really start planning overarching stories. At least I've got like a really good map and location to work with, because the previous Haphazard Legion, because I knew what I want to do with the story, but I just remember thinking the locations afterwards, because I knew the weather it would go, but the locations didn't really have a name. But I did go on from there, and I'm sure really pleased with how much I achieved there. But yeah, Chronocope, which is basically these two are life themed worlds, and so is this one, which we'll get to. But this one's, as you can see, very island like, probably the heavy most amount of vegetation, and I think the Titrans and Otters may be separate, maybe a couple of other beings of life, maybe other different Titran fractions. They're definitely strong enough for me to do that. They're an extremely easy race to work with, not only because I find the Titrans so interesting and that they've been an idea in my head for years and years, but it's just I'm just really looking forward to that. But let's go on to this one. So the Nemean's land, which was called Coal Life, which is a very lame name, but I forgot that in a version before, the place was originally called Numa, hence the name Numians. Anyway, it starts with a PN, by the way. So it's Hellwall's race, and Basnos is going to be there too, because it does have animal spirits after all, and spirits are partially a thing in this universe. And that's meant to be like a Northern Light effect. Still really like. Well, you've already seen the Beowulf in action, turning into the A1 creature, which has been greatly updated, in a very cool way. And so that kind of concept is continuing. And this is definitely like the mountainous one, and the one with the Northern Lights, and just enough to keep the land going. You can see how some areas will have more life than others, but that we'll get onto in a bit. Even this little bit of island here, it was I've made it like an extension of that. I can see that's like the area to go to where you can interact with the Northern Lights. I just thought that could be a really cool idea. This could be like the center of the planet almost. I say the center. I suppose if you can shift the sphere about, I suppose you can make it like that. Okay, and then 2, 3 left. Okay, we'll go from the edge. This is Brack, that's it. Yep. So originally named as the Sotra's planet in the previous version of the story. Yeah, it was originally like the volcano planet, except the lava was blue, which was a really fun idea until, as you can see, orange has started to become a bit more part of the colour scheme, which has been a bit helpful recently, I have to say. And but yeah, this is essentially the desert area, but it does have like occasional oasis, maybe some built structures and unique rocks in its own way. Because I have to be honest, when it comes to biomes and location themes, deserts are like the ones I struggled to get invested in the most, which is a bit of a shame because deserts, you can do all sorts. Like look at the Mario games, what kind of fun they have with the deserts. Yeah, I think that's my go-to when trying to go for desert inspiration, and I suppose the Mummy films as well. They are a lot of fun, aren't they? And yeah, I'm talking about those late 90s ones. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the proper good adventurous ones. But yeah, this is definitely going to be my interpretation of a desert. But with the Oasis parts, it will definitely have a more of a unique twist because I didn't want to just replicate biomes. I definitely wanted to mix and match, to make them all distinct, especially when it's an alien planet as well. Um, oh yeah, and as for roles, yeah, I don't know what role Maul will have. Maybe it's like a bit more mysterious area rather. And Titrans could be like playing God almost, especially if they're going to be resurrecting races, or we're going to be like a very like peacekeepers of like the wildlife pretty much. And then the desert one could be mysterious as well. Maybe it could be like more the area with the knowledge of the powers everyone has. A bit like the Sotchers in the previous book, but that wasn't as unique there, but I'll definitely make it more unique now. Alright, so second to last, this is the new Sota. So Sota was essentially where the final battle took place in the sequel comic, or like the sequel story, which was still a lot of fun. Yeah, I didn't know what to make of that location. It was almost like an abandoned base land, but yeah, as you would see by the guide, it had very little to get drawn into. But it's just essentially like the cavern world, just very little. You can see valleys and gorges, so definitely some higher ground you can walk upon. But I think a lot of it is just extremely deep ditches, like when the ground like literally splits and it's so deep. It's essentially that kind of area. Probably a go-to for mining, perhaps, that kind of mining. Alright, so last but not least, so this is Ozona's castle temporarily, because that's going to be the next story, and this castle will probably be coming to some new land, actually, thinking about it. I literally just thought of that a new idea right now. But yeah, this is pretty much the city centre of this whole world. Yeah, the most built, the most civilized, the one with like the most rules, and yeah, there's definitely yeah, the residents are good. This it's like the closest to human, you could say. Like there is some wildlife around, and I'm sure that the land would still have some natural bits and bobs. But yeah, like I said, yeah, the most built and the one with the most laws. Yeah, it's very reminiscent of like almost like the closest. And yeah, the new name is Arp because there was Tromba, which was a planet they'd make up, and that was to be the like the most intelligent like set of aliens. It was where Arizona's race did come from, and they did lay some laws down of the galaxy until Signfall messed it all up. But even at all of that stated in the guide, not in the universe's own story, which was a bit of a shame because that could actually been quite interesting to expand upon. And it still can. It just means everything's on the same planet instead of trying to crisscross from planet to planet. Because I once had an idea of what if I made one that's more wildlife based and another one that's a bit more smarter, but I just thought, no, if I keep all together, I just feel like it's a bit more interesting. Because when you like watch stories of, conflicts that all of it takes place on planet Earth, like you can see how it's um, it's just convenient and in a good way when all of these countries like so close together, how much they impact one another and how you get to there. Because imagine if any countries we know of today were on other planets, things would be very different in terms of trying to communicate with them and such. And so yeah, but yeah, that's basically what each land is like. So yeah, definitely very pleased. I just remember it being rather hard, but you literally just have to, start with like the main point, which is, like the city part, and it's just almost gets more and more like wildlife themed as you go and leave outside. Yeah, it almost becomes more alien the more you leave the land, which I can somewhat see. Yeah, because Float, Con, Crow, that one and that one are definitely more alien compared to what's down at the centre. And so yeah, we'll then get on to, and there you go. This is essentially what the the world map. Yeah, so this planet was drawn first, and I just remember thinking it looked really cool. And this is definitely what it looks like from a distance. I'm definitely going to do some colouring. Let's use red as well, and I'm also going to just quickly get to the screenshot so I can compare. But you can see how that big lake is definitely here. So this would be Numa, where the Northern Lights would be taking place. And yeah, there you go, got screenshots as a reference. And then Azona's castle would be here, as Arp would be all around here as well. And then if going from here, let's see. Yeah, there you go. So the Green Ape area would be around here, because this little bit here is a part of Float, so this would be a floating island. And then going up a bit, all of this would be Sliff, and oh yeah, the way that land is angled, so this is hard. So Concro is here, and Ininor is here. So yeah, more the land would exist, on the opposite side of the globe. But from what I can tell, oh yeah, this is where Blindfold is at. That is the swamp, Pixel Land. Could it be there? I just feel like that's, hang on. So that way, and then going upwards, that's the swamp. Maybe the swamp's there, and maybe that's where, yeah, so this area here, that's all, yeah, the opposite location. Maybe this could be the key planet. And I think, yeah, the desert and all of those Titran lands, I think all of those would be on the opposite side. And maybe just like the bottom of Vida, well, that would continue there as well. And yeah, and the rest of Float would be on the opposite side of the globe as well. So I can, yeah. Oh, hang on, about to sneeze. All right, I'm back. Yep, sneezed whilst not recording, so that's good. All right, so yeah, if when looking back onto the map, which I'll probably slap on a image comparison, you can somewhat see how it almost mirrors one another. And yeah, and I think sometimes when you look at Earth a certain way, you can like see definitely like more than half the land occasionally. So I think that's what this would be like. So yeah, what's this like here? I'm not sure, but anyway, you kind of get the idea how I did use. Yeah, it was a rough plan at first, but then I thought, hang on, I need to actually reference this, and I think I did successfully. And I think I'll still keep it like this because it'll still be green-ish. Anyway, it's mainly like different colours to help differentiate the land. But anyway, so we'll get on to like the next stage. Alright, so this was the original completion, and so you can see all of the blend details are away, and they did have to in order to not mix so much with the all of the wildlife, and yeah, not to mention when we get on to the next part, there is other characters and wildlife that's been added, and but yeah, I'm just giving you a glimpse. So when first completing this lot, oh yeah, by the way, the only new alien was this one here. It's basically like an alien which you can ride on like a horse, but other than that, any other character you would have seen from the guidance being carried over. But you do have a couple of alien races, some, this one being very familiar in general, and I'll get back to on why. But yeah, as you can see, when you look at first glance, it's almost messy because everyone shares the same colour, and normally when it comes to winter desert or rainforest locations, each alien, in fact, I think I still really like the placement of all of them, and I can see how they all adapt to their location, but unfortunately they look too different to look like they come from the same fraction. There's a couple which could look like it, like for instance, I'm really happy with this lot here because they're like the gloomy lot, but other than that, yeah, like, just on the first surface level, just like you just have to like think more so on how all of these could like belong together, like more so than just adaptation. And then that's where I come up with the solution of recoloring the lot. And as you can see, so I think I'll say it right now. One idea I did want to play with is the idea of extinct life, like in our world. And as hinted at greatly in the previous version of the story, where there was a whole planet dedicated to just life that's been resurrected, such as mammoths, Tasmanian tigers, Delaware sea cows, like those lot. No dinosaurs as such, which I could go back to, but I'm just sticking to the the non-dinosaur lot, other than a couple of exceptions. But I just thought, one way to expand on the wildlife in not just the previous story, but in here, is to not only have like a variety of custom alien creatures, but the idea was to, because I'm still wondering about the living elements and what kind of presence they will have, but the idea is that either them or even the Titrans, which by the way, for those who do not know, just nice to stand that one here, they were going to either fraction was going to help resurrect these beings that were once extinct from Earth, but they can all have like a second chance here, which could be like a really fun idea. I don't know any media that's done it, but hopefully I'll be the one to be popularized the most. And I've also just suddenly noticed this comedian you would have seen in the pretty much the last chapter 8-bit comic, that comedian had these really nice greens, but this was definitely like the first step into the colour changing of the lot. And not to mention, I'll make sure I have like a different give it a visual reason for the change. But yeah, the camos do look like this in the film, but I'm going to give them a tiny change to make them look like they belong in that land, because I really struggled for where to put them elsewhere. Having a good think about it. Yeah, in fact, just to give you a, actually, no, I think you should be able to see well enough, and you can zoom in YouTube videos nowadays. Yeah, which what life looks like, and also this is Pixar's updated design here. Yeah, because you can see what he used to look like in that first ever animation. Basically, the first YouTube video I made, and you can see how he does look a lot better compared to what he used to look like. But anyway, so giving you hints of what all of this land is like, and yeah, we'll just get on to the next part. And there you go, the final. But yeah, the map was already finalised, but now we've got all the wildlife added, well, just all of it updated. And you can see, like granted, the map is a lot lighter. That is one major difference. But another difference you can spot is that each fraction is so much defined by a key colour, and that's what will definitely make things more exciting as things go on. Because the only race that's been introduced by the films is the green apes, which I'm still really happy with the design. They're not only very similar to the ground, but they do have the dark blue look. And yeah. So yeah, I think the best thing to do is just go through the lot, really. I wish there was like a magnifying glass, that would be kind of cool, but I'll still use this pointer to help carry it out. Oh yeah, by the way, that is a keyword, you'll find out what I mean later. So oh yeah, I'll slap on this image as well. So when I was trying to figure out how to differentiate all the fractions, and especially when I'm going to go for colours of the elements, yeah, there you go. So yeah, I've given you a brief look, and yeah, you can see how each land is determined by a colour. So yeah, pixel here. Yeah, it's still keeping the dark blues because I still really like it. But yeah, jade green, despite because jade green's pretty much the colour of Earth, and so yeah, that's what's been stuck to. So yeah, just a couple of changes there. And then yeah, Orn has Megador has an updated, better design. Walrus, that was a updated look of the character Torrid in the previous book, but yeah, just like given a better colour scheme. So yeah, and then oh, actually, I just suddenly thought instead of making you like really look hard, I'll split all the images and you can see it better that way. So yeah, let me just come back to you. There you go, that's much better. So I'm pretty much going from top, right, down, left, and then to the middle. You'll see what I mean. All right, so yeah, much better view. So yeah, I'll be as brief as possible. So yeah, Rockpool Alien just only more of a matching blue. So this is a bit more, I guess, like the most casual light blue. Yeah, not hyper. Maybe like closer to cyan somewhat. It's a bit highlighted. Um, but you can see even what some of these characters have is like a dark version of that blue. So that's the thing. And even this one is more defined by very wintry and watery. Like I said, that's Mechadraw right here. As the orca, and then that's the squid who was in the sequel comic, but yeah, just on a lighter shade of blue. The only character that has that kind of eye, by the way, but I just don't really like the look of it. And then that's the Humant. That's a basically a whale with legs. Yeah, they're around. Yeah, no change at all. And that's a Megalodon, and that's a Stellar Sea Cow, which I really like how those two were translated. I'm just going to get my list up so I know every single race. Where's my document? There it is. And notes. Yeah, okay. If there's any ones. Yeah, I think that's it for that one because yeah, that's a woolly rhino, that's a mammoth. That mammoth doesn't have blue, but I just thought yeah, I'll leave it for the time being because brown's like one of those colours that's across the land, but yeah, you can see how that colour goes in and out a bit like grey and white and etc. And yeah, even other fractions they do share other colours, but they're more defined by the colour as part of their fraction. So yeah, I mentioned the walrus one. Yeah, just yeah, Torrid from the previous book, somewhat translated. That's the saber-toothed tiger, tints of blue. Not the biggest fan of how it was translated. I just feel like there's other beings that were made better. I might update it a bit to maybe happier, but yeah, I'll have to have a good think about it. That's a Slytherin, so it's like a giant Wolverine creature, which I've made up in the previous version of the story. It's actually in the Blast comic I made. So yeah, this one's here. Yeah, it's a very furry creature, so I can see why this one would suit somewhere wintry like that. And I won't go too deep into what any of them do, what the food chain is like, because that'll be where the story can be shown. But it could somewhat unfair. Megalodon and the saber-toothed tiger are animalistic predators, and these three presumably are like the living beings, the more intelligent ones. That squid could be on its own, so yeah, I think so. Anyway, go there's just that one. Alright, let's go for Zynfalls next. So yeah, this is Zynfalls updated design, which you would have seen at the end of my first film. Yeah, I'm really happy with his update. Yeah, just like the tints of gold to add to the royalty, and he has the amulet, which has been translated in the storybook visuals or the novel visuals. Yeah, because those novel videos haven't paid off much, but I still like the visuals. that were made, and it would have helped with some design choices, such as how Design 4 would have looked. So yeah, I really like the way it looks. You can see how he's the most, yeah, like I said, the one of the most royalty. And then this one's a Resurrector. So if I can find him, this is what his design used to look like, especially compared to his 2D drawing. But I grew out of that design. Yeah, it was meant to be like a cloaked a skeleton, and with a bigger hand, which I normally like to do. And yeah, I like the bits of the rib cage being on show. But yeah, that one I've kind of lost interest. And I didn't like the 8-bit translation, so I just thought, yeah, I'm just going to go for a more gloomy design. But as you can see, he has a gap in his head, so it's definitely carrying over a skull idea. And if yeah, it's just a skull, and yeah, that's his hands and feet. Yeah, similar skin color to Design 4, but yeah, definitely a different creature. And yeah, as you can see, this one's a much darker grey and green kind of color. And so yeah, you can see how all of them share it. Definitely, well, not the skeletons, but they do get a pass because they do at least fit the environment, and the others rather well. Yeah, the Raniks haven't changed at all. Still really like, yeah, these vicious creatures. Yeah, the slot has been updated. So yeah, they used to be dark blue with blue, with the blue lava, but now they have the orange with the dark green instead, and they still look enough like statues. Even the stick is almost like solid lava, which I think could be rather cool to play with, but I'll have to wait and see on that. But still, just go back to the Resurrector story, like his updated design. Yeah, definitely a complete change, but yeah, the cloak and yeah, the colour matching, yeah, it's just extremely cool. And then we'll then go on to the swamp. So this one here, I think that's where I'm going to need my list, because this one's a prehistoric creature, even before the dinosaurs. So I'm looking for there it is. Oh yeah, a Listerosaurus or a Listerosaurus. Yeah, definitely Triceratops Rhino like. Yeah, I really like the original translation, as you would have seen briefly earlier. But yeah, I think this one I added here to have like a prey in this kind of area, and I thought I could have them going around swamps. I can sort of see that happening, especially going through shallow water. So yeah, not too armory, but I still like the kind of mixture. It's unique. This one's the brand new long neck alien. Yeah, the neck is bent down at the moment, but I thought yeah, you can casually walk through water with yeah, with his head right up. Yeah, definitely the longest neck out of all of them, and he has a short tail as well. And then this is an Alita, which is pretty much a crocodile resident, and the design is the same, but the colours have been swapped around, just a bit more blue. And this one was a rolling alien of some kind, I forgot, because in the original story he was a kind of alien who had a suit with wheels on, and he can like lean forward to pretty much become like a human motorcycle. I say human, but just imagine like a human lying down with wheels, and it can accelerate that way. But because technology is not a thing in this universe, I've even made a note that I still like the idea, but someone put it with this alien. And yeah, it's very casual alien. It's just only a bit taller compared to like the human portion. So yeah, I think they're probably would like the main residents of the area. This one it was originally like a nuclear alien in the previous version of the story. I might still carry that idea. The free head thing I still kind of like, even if I won't know too much of what to do with it. But yeah, originally jade green, but far more blue now. So maybe like a one-off grand creature. I guess we'll wait and see. This is Merc, a skeleton of an otter with gooey powers. Yeah, gooey that can shapeshift around. Yeah, definitely a unique hybrid. Yeah, how he was described in the storybook hasn't changed, but yeah, it's more of a blue block instead, and you can somewhat see the creature being somewhat bony, and maybe I kind of lean more to that sort of the blue, and the green's a bit faint, but yeah, still quite like it. Even this one right here was a totally made up alien. We know we're like a fairy tale in that. Yeah, just like a bigger four-legged creature, and yeah, I just really like the look of it, especially the way you can see its feet. A bit more a 3D approach for this one. All right, time for another prehistoric one, and this one is oh, I've literally just called it a prehistoric reptile. That's not helpful. But yeah, I think the best way is that they were pretty much like very early salamanders, even probably before the dinosaurs as well. I can just about see the shape of the tail. If you've done your prehistoric research like I have, you'll probably know what I mean. Although there's a lot of these similar salamander creatures, but yeah, just nice and flat. That's a serpent, originally from Eninor, and it was green, but now it's blue. The idea of a floating dragon still seems kind of cool. And I've had to explain that I did want to, like, yes, I've using existing prehistoric creatures more that used to exist, and I'd wanted to stay away from morphology, which is why I decided to ditch the likes of dragons and even hydras. But I still thought that I just thought to give them a serpent like that a pass, especially like a smaller one. I just think it's just not unique enough of a twist. I just couldn't get rid of the idea, because I just think it would be fun to animate. This is a sea mink, a recently extinct creature, and I really like how that one looks. And you can see how it's mostly brown, but the eye, the eye color is just enough to tie it with this, and you can see how it would suit a water area. So yeah, and then this one is I called it Sungundo. So originally tied with. Oh yeah, 90 Man was a one-off alien that I made up in the previous version of the story that only just exists within the guide. But yeah, almost like a Loch Ness like creature, but I really like the design of it, the mix in the black and blue as well. Yeah, just extremely cool. Yeah, I can't wait to use him. So definitely made up in that way. Alright, so next up is Sliff. Alright, so first things first, I've heard many names, although I recently found out that these are called nautiluses, or maybe just nautili, nautilus as a singular one. Yeah, definitely the most iconic kind of fossils, especially with these kind of squid creatures that come about. And once again, when you look at the previous version of what the races look like all of these extinct animals do have like their original color, as I recently done them. I think I will slap on that extinct animal image to show that I did capture the original colors before, but then I thought, once again, fractions. So just having fun with the colors, and it does seem to work quite well. I was a bit hesitant, but I do seem to be a lot happier with how this looks. There were some original characters of mine where I really like the original colour scheme, especially with this dude here. Fortunately, but yeah, changes had to be made, especially if I wanted to keep him in this beach area. I think he probably should have stayed in the water area considering his ice powers, but I like him here. I think I just got to see that mixing rather well. Just because Mechador used to look like a tall crocodile, which I don't think. Oh yeah, I think the drawings on my Instagram somewhere. I'll slap it on if I find the image. But the 8-bit is translating from that 2D drawing, and I still really like his proportions. Really cool. And the colour scheme is warming up to me, and you definitely can see how this one's like a definitive dark cyan. Even this one is a bit more grey now. This one is Basilosaurus. Almost like a mix between a whale and a dinosaur, somewhat. And then jaw sharp, hardly different from how he used to look. A shark humanoid with the 2 blades. With that a bit like brass knuckles, but with a blade on them. They're kept the same. They're the snake race, just only decided to change the top because they still really like the colour of that. Commodum, which is pretty much a Komodo dragon, but almost humanoid and slightly bulkier. Did used to be green, but now it's dark blue. Did have powers of emitting heat, I think it was, or at least that was one idea that might still be around, because there's going to be like 20 definitive types of powers, which are yeah, some are powered beings on their own, or there are some like the Titrons, which are all super powered but manage to stay as a group. And there's going to be noted reasons for that, but I'll say at another time. Now, this is a original creature, so as you may have seen, it was a very cheap-looking shark creature, but with like multiple fins. But now I've really, by adding a bit more detail and colour, yeah, it's just greatly updated. I really like the look of him now. So yeah, yeah, the lionfish alien, you would remove him from the guide as well, and the force slap on the blues too. Yeah, fitting with the area, and but yeah, I like it well enough. Yeah, still I could still see the lionfish in the look and the design. That's the yab, yeah, the crustacean being originally on planet Garup, the Pole planet. Yeah, to give it a new makeover with all the blues, and yeah, happy with it enough. I think I'm just wondering how it might move, but I'm sure I'll work it out. That's an Ellisol, very much like a elephant seal, but slightly evolved. Only just made the colour a bit more matching, not changed at all. Still a fantastic design. And finally, this is another extinct creature, a recently one, and this one is a Pinta Island tortoise. Yeah, quite massive creatures, especially with the long necks. But yeah, I really like the design and look of this one as well. Right, so next up is this one, and I think I'm going to, although first things first, if we go on to the original list, so this one is any no, yeah, there it is. The Oh yeah, a hyenodon. So that's this creature here. So yeah, pretty much a prehistoric hyena, slightly a big predator creature, medium sized more so. But then if I get onto the newer list, there is not that one. Oh, I'm still on locations. There it is. So any no, yep. So firstly, there's a short face bear, once again recently extinct, and definitely given a yellow. Yeah, this one's like a highlighter light blue, and yeah, I just really like yeah, because it's a bit like a spectacle bear, you know, when it's just like the one colour on his face, and I just thought, yeah, that's a really cool way to translate it in that way. And then also there is this one's a what's it called? It's a type of toad that was also recently extinct, and yeah, even if it's orange, yeah, the blues help tied to it somewhat. And then finally, this one is a Labrador duck. Yeah, the colour scheme is definitely how it used to match, but just only a touch of blues to match the location again. And the rest is pretty much my creation. So yeah, the critter there, originally green, like the definitive alien insect, definitely made it up rather early, even before making the final books. It made it into the sequel comic briefly, but not much. Yeah, most simplistic design, and yeah, they look better when they're smaller. But yeah, it's just recolor blue. These are Spidgos. These used to be like the fan club aliens in the books. Yeah, I really like yeah, just they travel with their four massive arms. So it is two for now, but when looking ahead, it's definitely four. Yeah, just with the smaller bodies, look rather nice. By Nate, yep, the multi-personality alien, yep, still definitely the same except the colour. And there were previous versions, especially in the animation, where it did used to change colour depending on the personality. But I think it will slightly vary in colour. I'm still trying to work that out, especially when it's a character that's not in focus yet. And then this one's a jort, basically a deer alien with human proportions. Originally red, then made into dark blue in the guide. Yeah, really cool colour mixed, and then given this colour instead. And yeah, it just warmed up to it once again. And then that's a Rage Rock alien, just very bulky in his design, and I've decided to keep the mace as well for the time being, but that might change. I guess we'll wait and see. That's a Varov, pretty much like a werewolf equivalent. Yeah, in the sequel book. Yeah, it was made up of like a very dingy, darker green, but it's yeah made into this colour, which I think can still work because Yeah, because if you remember, Andata was just a normal human. She was offered a serum to temporarily turn her into that kind of creature, and yeah, it resulted in the cool payoff for during the boss fight, even if it was just like a tiny comic. And so yeah, and yeah, I remember from the guide, yeah, like whoever gets like bitten by the creature, they would just like become that creature. Like if, for instance, even if it managed to nab one of these tiny critters, it would still like become one of a similar size. Or if a giant creature, it would still be a similar size, maybe slightly different in size, but yeah, it just is, that's how they populate in that way, which is kind of scary. So I just thought, yeah, I'll just keep it. Yeah, it could be really intense. This one's the like pretty much like the diamond alien for me. I really like, yeah, because I once created this really cool axe using um, a dude, and but then I thought to make him a bit more less human and more alien by making it like a diamond um, alien instead, and you can see that the diamond poking out. And it used to be dark green, which probably still looks better, but still happy with that. And then finally we have this unique alien. He's essentially a hunchback one, and you can somewhat see how his body shape forms around it like that, which is yeah, definitely rather cool. I really like the bulkiness of him as well. And so yeah, that covers those light and any north. So the previous light, you can see how they're very seaside beach creatures. This one is definitely more forest based. A good portion of them, especially with the axe and these being hidden. Oh yeah, because there was wolves in the woods. Yeah, that tends to be like a story thing. Oh, this guy, an alien gorilla, basically. Yeah, original alien. Yeah, he used to be yellow, but now it's that. Yeah, I can see a horde of them hang around this area. So yeah, like I said, just think of a slightly dangerous forest, pretty much. But yeah, let's go on to the next one. Yeah, even something else that's worth clarifying is that even if, yeah, like I said, they're representative of certain elements, especially with light blue being like representative of water, out of all things. Yeah, it won't be like so much water abilities, but it would still be like a part of the lifestyle, depending on which faction represents which elements. It's definitely something I would like to clarify on more so. Alright, so Concro. Let's find the original list first and then I'll go to the new one. There it is. Alright, so we'll go with this one first. So this was an original design of one of the Benemental gods in the guide, but I didn't think it was a very godly design. And oh yeah, I should have placed these gods onto the world map actually. Although what you've last seen of them is pretty much kept the same, and there will be new gods as well, which could be really exciting to design. I probably could do doing that actually, and definitely show them off another time. And there's yeah some aliens, like for instance, if you remember a snow leopard human that used to be in the former version of Concro, I just thought yeah that yeah I can make like a normal size alien for a god like that, because I did like the design. It definitely had some presence, yeah, because I really like snow leopards. So yeah, maybe that's one of the designs as well. Yeah, you could definitely see there's a whole heap of aliens that were not on the guide, and well, sorry, yeah, on the guide but not here. Yeah, just a whole heap of designs that were rejected in the end. Oh yeah, but yeah, this one it's essentially a slug with spikes, and yeah, it's just better suited as a resident rather than a golly creature. This one here looks like a suit it's wearing, so could be armor of some kind. Yeah, literally created the likes of him yesterday and a couple of other ones, especially the humpback creature there. And so yeah, yeah, just yeah, like thick tail, thick arm proportions. Um, yeah, could be like the defender of the area. Yeah, I'll work that out. Yeah, it's rather cool. All right, this one here. This one's a. Am I seriously not putting these names on? Oh no. Okay. Well, regardless, this is another prehistoric animal. Definitely one. I think this was before the dinosaur era as well, despite having a reptilian look. And if you look at images, it's very disproportionate in like a round body and a fat neck and weirdly long arms. is that kind of creature, and they're normally, like greyish greens, but is later updated into a darker cyan, which is like the colour scheme of this area. And then, shall I get on to? Oh yeah, because I'm going to the other list anyway. This one is a Caribbean monk seal, and yeah, also recently extinct. And what I've accidentally chopped is the front of his face, but I kind of like how the seal is translated there, and they were like a really nice shiny black. So I just thought, yeah, let's yeah, I really like seals. They're awesome. Okay, and then what was the Concro? Oh no, that's a custom one. Concro. Um, where's the? Have I? Oh no, I think I found it. No, oh, an Aralon. Oh yeah, there, that's the one. Yeah, pretty much like a very large prehistoric turtle. Yeah, sea turtle. You can somewhat see the proportions. Right, so the rest are, well, I nearly saved the rest are custom, but let's go back to the original list for this one. So if you've seen the 2016 Jungle Book, you might have wondered, hang on, why is that orangutan so huge? And it's because it's not quite an orangutan. It's a prehistoric orangutan that does have a name, and I'm yet to find out where it is. Um, yeah, let's have a quick look. Yeah, was it voiced by Christopher Walken? Looking for you is not yet on the barcode system. That was one of the quotes in Click. I like that one. Anyway, yeah, it's a Gigantothecus. Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, giant orangutan. And yeah, in the Jungle Book 2016, it must have been set in like the 17 or 1800s, for that creature to still be around. But yeah, I did. Oh, this was one of those cases where I didn't want to get rid of the exquisite. I really like the amount of fur on this creature. I've only, you can see the skin is matching of the with the rest of them, but I just couldn't get rid of the orange fur. Because orange may be more definitive to another location, but I still wanted to have like little bits of orange to just to like mix it up a bit. But as long as I had like the one definitive colour in some way, shape, or form, then that's what matters. Alright, so next up is these pretty much like toad-like creatures despite the tails. These two were also in the final comic. They were the kind of foes Pod were fighting against. There was even a king one. It was like a villain I came up when I was a kid, and then I just continued using him. And they did make a load of hybrids. Hybrids which are yet to, or yeah, I think the design are being kept, and I can't really squeeze them on the map. But they are coming back. If you did like those one-off hybrids, those two I made up when I was a little. This one's yet another brand new alien, and as I really like these really thin proportions that the niche bots have, skeletons, even the Contrabots are coming back, if you remember them from the sequel book. Because in the previous version of the story, I did have like this really cool idea where it's essentially like a robotic invasion, like a galactic one, and I just thought, yeah, I would like to continue with that idea despite not getting around to executing it previously. And the next up is yeah, the flammers, as I call them, pretty much like bigger human proportion aliens, but with dragonfly wings. So yeah, self-explanatory. You can see how the colours come through. And this is armor, although I think I've named it better. He used to be a foe of one of the main characters who I probably will mention in a bit. But yeah, like the kind of alien that can talk into a ball. I will have to see what the ball will look like in pixelated form when it's rolled into it. But I still really like the designing, like the tail and all of these edges. Yeah, you can see how it would work as a rolling alien. Alright, next up is here, and we'll start with this one. Yeah, I just totally make up that creature, I was just like messing about with like proportions. It was just like an afternoon of seeing what else I could do with the pixelated things. Yeah, once again, it matches with him, matches with him and him, and so yeah, yeah, just like a spooky, spiky creature. I quite like it. Yeah, the green apes you known about, and then yeah, the camos have only changed the eye color, and well, no, I think that stayed the same, but just the trousers are different, so just enough suitable in the area. This was also a case of an alien not like looked better before with the yellow skin, but with the dark blue, I'll warm up to it, I reckon. Um, yeah, just almost like a draft alien almost. I mentioned the comedian, yeah, Buzz in the last comic, and colours grown on me as well. Yeah, definitely would climb around these trees as well. If these can reach the leaves, these like sneaky. I can see that being sneaky as well. My slug alien that can collect plants, well, just like insects for using its secondary mouth up there that I mentioned in the guide. Yeah, carried him over. And then here's two insect creatures as well. So I know where this one is on the list, just high up. Um, yeah, this is a blue macaw. Yeah, also recently extinct. It's very similar to the blue pirates in the Rio film. And then this one is I've sadly not got his name on. I think he's similar to a hyanodon, but bigger mouth, slightly bigger predator. And yeah, I really like this is like a proper mixture between like the natural and the cool colour. I just really like the look of it. Yeah, just very awesome. And yeah, so this is the lot in the foresty area, and you can somewhat see how some might be able to get about, climbing about or flying about, and probably being level, probably can go about their way, and if it's water as well. Even though this is more air, but yeah, water's still around. Okay, let's go on to the next part. Right, so Planet Float. So yeah, I decided to, if you remember Apollo from the later comics, whether it's the last one or the official sequel one, yes, updated his design. You'll see what he used to look like in the latter half of this video, but I made the poncho just a bit wider and thought, yeah, that looks a bit better. So it's a slightly mysterious alien that pretty much has every elemental ability, but yeah, I just really still really like the colour and the mystique. And if you remember the other designs that I came up with, when the race evolved more so, especially in the last comic, yeah, just totally cool. Really like the look of the lot. Yeah, I managed to come up with 3 different variations to all the theme. And then this prehistoric creature, or recently extinct creature, you'll recognise. Yeah, great orc, which is pretty much like a taller penguin. Yeah, really sad to see them go, but I'll continue its legacy in a very unique way. Yet another being I came up with very recently, yeah, self-explanatory, like a rhino, but it has some other spikes as well. They're very unique in its proportions. I like that. The tentacle beast from the guide, just slightly lighter colour, maybe like a one-off creature. This one I was happy with its redesign because I'll get the image up, because for the first time I asked my acquaintances which was the better looking hammerhead, as in the hammerhead shark. We were drawn to this one the most, which is probably number 3 on the thing, unless I'm wrong. But yeah, I'm definitely happy with it now, because I was like tempted to thicken it a bit, but no, it looks very sleek. And yeah, I wasn't really happy enough with what it used to look like, especially where I've added this alien in the sequel comic briefly as well. But yeah, it's just he simply has a gliding mechanism, one that would have to be a bit more naturally made, which it is possible. There's video games like Ark, which has I think that has a bit more technology in that fictional universe, but there's that glider which is awesome. But yeah, like just normal gliders, just cool. And then I really like the experimentation with the clothing. You can see it's a bit more diagonal, and even the off the shoulder thing, it's just awesome. I just remember thinking, like maybe I could do with like, well, if I have like different clothes variations for the aliens, I could do with doing something like that. Yeah, it's really stands out. There's Spyco, a very classic alien of mine. A story like the green, so I've kept that. And oh, that reminds me, there's a image that doesn't have like those updated colours, but I'll make sure that's the case when the films come by, because that's definitely, once it's there, it's there. But yeah, I know the cameras will go through a change, but at least that'll be simple. But yeah, this is Air Base 4, so this one's a bit more, I think, more reminiscent of this kind of dark blue. That's the kind of darkest it's going for. Yeah, just slightly, that slightly darker normal blue, despite a couple of variations. Yeah, because this one's blue with the eye. That one's the spiky predator, which was on Zami's planet in the original story, but I still really like it. So he's staying as a predatory creature. That's Devola, which is a flying alien you can ride on. Used to be green, now it's blue. Looks cool. Definitely suits a floating island area. And then I've got these running creatures, which I think will be a load of fun to work with. Yeah, they're pretty much like alien lemurs, you know, where they're like run across, yeah, whole horde of them. Yeah, I think that would be rather cool. Definitely the prey for these kind of creatures. But yeah, let's move on. Right, so let's go for Vida first. Yeah, the Savannah. And yep, so firstly, this one is it's what's it called? A sloth bear? Like these were like massive during the times they were around. Because I was like watching these documentaries. Yeah, what was it called? Walking with dinosaurs, walking with monsters, walking with beasts. I don't know which one's which. Some of them, but yeah, I just remember. Yeah, like these creatures would like swat wolves away as if they were nothing. They're like, wow. And there's like different variations of them as well. Where is it? The swamp, the desert, Sota, Vida. There it is. What's it called again? Uh, oh, giant sloth bear. Oh, okay. So that might put it down to. When you type it in, you know what I mean. All right, this is Scrawn. Definitely happy with how it's updated. This alien is going to this, despite not having an element tied, no, an ability that's not tied with the element. I still wanted to make a self regeneration kind of alien, especially when it's a lizard. So yeah, I still really like the look. Yeah, that purple suit was long outdated, so yeah, he's just a bit more bare. And yeah, but if you're one of the more residential areas, probably maybe like a one-off alien. So yeah, I think that could just be really rather cool. And having a think, whilst I really like the green on the giant sloth bear, I think he needs thicker proportions if that was the creature I was going for. But if not, I'll have to have a look into that. Right, yeah, fastest four-legged alien used to be dark blue, now it's this. You would have seen him in the comic. Giant kraken, you already seen him in the guide. Still like the giant trident, would be a massive creature, yeah, massive one-off. The cattle alien, also from the guide. Yeah, that's self-explanatory. This is a prehistoric crocodile. More specifically, oh gosh, oh yeah, I'll go through the other recently added ones as well. What's one of the prehistoric crocodiles? Because there's dozens of them, but this one's a giant one, and it's a. Oh, why am I not noting any of these down? Well, if you just type in prehistoric giant crocodile, you'll know what I mean. Yeah, just massive. This is the dodo. Yeah, added with the lime green colours, quite like the look of it. And then who else was recently? Oh yeah, a quagga, a zebra create horse thing that yeah, there were black and white photos of it when you go through the internet, and yeah, the green was added in the front to make it a bit more, you know, like I said, unified with the area. But yeah, I really like the way it's translated. You could definitely tell. And then that's also yeah, bone manipulation. This game was only made lighter to suit them a bit more, but the aliens are pretty much the same, and I think the personality will be staying the same as well. This is a which one's this one? Was it the black western rhinoceros? I think, yeah, also recently extinct. But you know, just make it darker with the green. I just thought, yeah, that looks awesome. Javan tiger, also recently extinct. There was one other tiger that was extinct, but I just wanted to add one. But my gosh, I'm impressed with the results. And only tints of green were added. Um, yeah, to see the area. So yeah, just really cool. And then, oh, this one's A. Oh, I got multiple results for this one, but I've got a Lauren Ipsum, you know, just like a massive four-legged creature, mainly blue or greyish in our reality, but yeah, just more green instead. But yeah, still really like the look of them. And is that it? Oh yeah, what's this lizard? Oh yeah, a Megalania. Yeah, I think it was probably like the Komodo dragon of its time, although I think it was just more like a yeah, just basically like a massive lizard, but better proportion than the one in Concrete. And then as if it's around, I didn't fancy changing any of the colours, but I still really like the idea of the aliens looking after wildlife more specifically. So yeah, I still thought to keep him around. Yeah, I think a similar character as well. All right, so now we're on to is there any additions? No new ones, so hopefully I can go through this one smoothly. Chronocope. So, like I said, Titrons are there, otters are there. No different changes to the design. The otters are probably less variety of, because in the previous version of the story, there were all 13 types were implemented, especially when seen in the guide and when I had the idea of all of these otters coming together. I still would like to add like the 13 or so types, especially the prehistoric ones, but you'll see what I mean later on. Where's Quinco? My list. In the meantime, Loganov's there in book 3, carried over that design. I just thought that looks cool. And then, the hay one, just thought that could be place for it there. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, hey one, the creature that could temporarily evolve. I just thought that suited that. This one's my like an elephant equivalent. Really wanted to stick with the blue, but I just thought, this works too. So yeah, that's fine. A residential T-Rex, basically. This one, Rico, my creature. This is a prehistoric one. Let's see. No, because they glided on is the one with the shell. These are iconic creatures. This one's an prehistoric one, but with a bigger jaw, mainly yellow, but the green it changed to green instead, which is actually one of my lesser favourite 8-bit translations, but I'm sure I can work around with it. This one's the river dolphin, also recently extinct. I forgot which type it was. It might be the southern one, but I'm not sure. But I really like the blue and green there. This one's a Carolina parakeet, recently extinct parrot type of bird. Definitely would look nice in this jungle area. This one's a slon, which is my own digging kind of alien, also reminiscent of a former Titran, which you'll know what I mean later. And then finally, a Noozle, much better updated version. Instead of making them like tiny elephants that can fly, they're bigger elephants that can fly, and they're like a cooler look to the design as well. And I'll be interested to see what it looks like when it flies in that. Definitely suits the jungly area. You can see how this one's almost savannah-ish. Right, let's move on. Alright, so sticking to the desert and then the cove. The cove's rather small, but we'll just stick with this lot. And also another reluctant colour change. I'm happy with it enough. This is a Keo that had a really nice dark and lime green combination, like the Ninja Alien. He was going to be like the source of all martial arts, and still going to be the case. It's just working out, especially when it used to be part of the main Legion team. It definitely, that and 8 items in the original team until it went into a 4, as you'll see in the original books and that. It warmed up to me. Tasmanian tiger. If Australia was part, then I just thought it could be cool to fit in the desert, and I feel like the orange should be a bit more prominent in this one, but I still really like the translation nonetheless. This alien, nearly out of the series, but I just really like the proportions and the way it's designed. It was originally an alien that could heat or freeze objects from afar, which you might have seen as the ability many times across various pieces of media. Probably won't have that ability, but like I said, just don't want the proportions. And the colour's a bit too striking, especially when, not to mention, blue and orange has stereotypically been used all sorts of media all the time. Like, look at movie posters, it's overdone, but at least I've used one here. Alright, this one's a prehistoric creature. This one is A. So if I find Brack, actually, I can just type it in, can't I? Oh, there you go. Bear with. Oh, never mind. So if I type in Oasis, no. Yeah, sorry about that. There you go. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, a Myelesnia, something like that. Yeah, they're very prickly turtle, like a spiked turtle, mainly green, but yeah, I really like the orange mixture. This is my own type of rhino being, also seen on the guide, barely changed. This used to be a kind of guide alien, but whatever I'm going to do with it, I still really like the design, and the colours are a bit more narrowed down. Yeah, I like it enough. Xenix also nearly kicked out, but I just thought, the design is too cool. I could, do some really special. Even the sword is like really unique. I really like the translation of it because the sword used to be drawn like. Sliverrock, another reluctant colour change, but yeah, this colours are stuck. They're very good. At the moment, it just looks like a very light-hearted version. Maybe I could have like the colours temporarily swapped around, to last like a bit of a homage, but if it is going to suit the desert, then fair enough. And also, yeah, yet another alien nearly kicked out. So it's just because this alien had the power to summon multiple boulders, and I could still work with that idea, but um, since I just didn't want to do with that ability, but I still like the crab-like design, so I just thought, yeah, keeping that as well. So yeah, all of them suit the desert somewhat well enough. Then on to the cavern locked. Yeah, the gloop being the already established character set what the colour scheme is going to be like. So I thought to keep the Tengas, especially with the cove and the crab like. So yeah, a bit of green there. They used to have more yellowish skin, now it's green. Yeah, it's the Brock dude from the sequel comic at the start. Another new alien I came up with on the spot. Looks a bit like a I don't know what to describe it, but definitely reptilian. It was actually like the first attempt of making a sea lion, but I thought would like legs instead, but I still liked it. And then, oh yeah, totally other original character came up with, yeah, just slightly smaller proportions and a much longer tail. So I just thought, yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, it's a small alien as well. All right, and then, oh yeah, if you're wondering what orange would fit under, I think it goes under Viber. I think if it's like fire, yeah, I can see it happening. Yeah, even Sliverrock was like the divinity fiery creature. So was Xenix from a couple of times. All right, and then yeah, Cavern Lot there, dark green also like the earth. Nica's also see how Chronocope and Vida also had the lighter green. So yeah, life once again, life themed. Right, and then on to the last part. Right, two locations left, and I think we'll go for the simpler one, so Numa. So as you can see, yeah, with Hellwolf and Epasmos having their final designs, as evident by the animation, kept their look, and yeah, and I just thought, yeah, why not put them together? They both are spirit-based um, individuals, especially with Epasmos using astral projection on clones, and even the temporary invincibility, and her wolf, having to transform into a creature of her choice. And yeah, so yeah, the new Numians have a lot of potential, with many of them. You would have seen the other variations I've had on the guide, so yeah, that will continue. That's the Betasaurus. Just hints to green. I just thought, yeah, awesome. I definitely having them around the mountain. Definitely lost the name of this prehistoric fish, but once you look it up, you know what I mean. I really like the translation of that as well. Like, look at those teeth. I would even be hesitant putting my finger near them. Anyway, this one is a prehistoric creature too. Um, I think it was like a pre-dinosaur creature, long leg, long tail. Oh yeah, a Tanostropheus. Yeah, I think that's how to say it. It might still be a dinosaur, but it's still like the unique look, especially the long neck. This one is pretty much a sea lion that I just managed to make, but probably a bit more alien. Um, so yeah, I just thought that could be cool near the water. And then this is a saber-tooth alien I've made up. And So yeah, Hypnosis race used to be like the ones like gambling, and maybe that could still be the case, or he could still be on his own. That could work. Sabretooth one, which planet did he come from? I'm not sure actually. He's definitely on the guide though. Oh yeah, this is the Badger as well. Yeah, I think he's going to be on his own as well. Here, just like a nimble fighter, quite small with a sword. yeah, you can definitely see how the badger aspects translated. Yeah, I'm quite happy with it. All right, finally, Arizona's city, and Arizona's lit up a little bit. I think I could do making the shoes a bit darker, but other than that, it's kept the same, and I still like his simpler enough design. Yep, Zambi's in this planet as well, maybe on his own as well, like the last of his kind. Do you like a power one? And yeah, I mentioned it before, but yeah, I just really like the redesign. It's far better. That's the horse Ian just mentioned, but when it used to be yellow, and now it's not. So yeah, horse equivalents. The Twopjins, who I see as like the definitive alien race. Yeah, it's just a random storybook drawing I've done, and yet I really like the design, especially with the upside down head. And I'll quickly outline how, yeah, like the two spikes on its head. Yeah, you'll see what I mean if you go on to storybook 4 in that one page. But yeah, I just really like them. This is a passenger pigeon. I know it's blue instead of grey, but still wants to carry them over. This one used to be blue and white, which I didn't like. Then it used to be the two greens, which I really like. But now it's this colour scheme, which I'll adjust to anytime soon. I think this is more like a long cloak. I'm still figuring out what this alien is, but I just really like the Grim Reaper like look of this one. So I'll definitely work out how to use him. But yeah, for now, it's a long cloak, and yeah, I'll come with some ideas. Normals also in the animation as well. I changed the colours a little bit, a bit subtly, despite they're only on the animation for a couple of seconds. But yeah, space travelling ones. Yes, the flame like aspect still carried over. Yeah, I just thought, yeah, they're probably best to come from the most civilized area. And then finally, this is who I call a multi-gun alien, and yeah, he has a shape-shifting gun that can, as Orpheum kind of shape-shift his body, like shoot all kinds of weaponry. Well, it's pretty much him, but with a gun. And then because of what he originally used to look like, and then when I was just like swapping colours around, I just thought, you know what, I really like the brown jacket he's going for. So I just thought, yeah. And then yeah, their faces get the same. So yeah, just a couple of swapping colours, and I think he might be a single alien as well. Oh yeah, because I've added him to the new Legion team, which we should be getting on to next. Yeah, I think it is next. But yeah, this is where we get into the other thing. But yeah, this is essentially what this alien world is like, and yeah, I'm definitely almost certain with what the next film is going to be like. But I do then need to get back to all of that structuring and that. But yeah, because when I made those storybooks, that was like, even if it was like previous version of the stories, but over time it was just like such a refined package. The way the character arcs came about and the obstacles that went in and out at like suitable times. I just remember thinking like, what a super format. And yeah, I think the best idea is to create a main pentology or trilogy, and then create the spin-offs from there, or maybe like different kind of trilogies. That might be the better approach. So yeah, because I was even thinking that design for here could involve the multiverse lot, which we're pretty much about to get to. So yeah, I hope you all like all of this map stuff. Yeah, look forward to see the exploration of it. If you're wondering, yeah, it's going to be more of Mull and some of this area in the next film, that's for certain. But yeah, let's get on. Whoa, how exciting! I get ever so tingly every time I see this, because as you can see, so they do have specific names, but like of each fictional universe, but we'll just simply refer to it as 1, 2, 3, 4. And just to clarify, so 4 is what my yeah, by the way, you can see how some aliens have like some outdated colouring, but never mind. I better. Sorry about that. Anyway, I didn't know I could do that. I just literally just found that. Anyway, so this is like the current continuity, you could say. So, all pretty much every film will be focusing on this universe, pretty much. And even if there's going to be references to the other ones, yeah, this alien planet I showed you and the Earth that you would have seen in the newer films, yeah, like I said, that is going to be the new main continuity, the most updated and that. And so 3 is pretty much the prior version of the story. You can see how some of these characters were reminiscent to the prior comics, the comics I've made, and this is continuing from just like the later stage in their lives. So no Pelwolf, no Mike, no Dior, no Arvin even. So oh, hang on, no, no, that no, but no, no, that's it. No, continuity. I need to fill that spot or to take away one of them. I'm not sure. Oh gosh, I've just suddenly noticed that. This one will be replaced with another alien of some kind. You'll see what I mean with the animation. So ignore that. Yeah, Wolf would not be around at this time of the continuity. Oh yeah, by the way, current previous version of the comedian. Yeah, by the way. Right, so yeah, these two explained. Yeah, definitely shown thoroughly on YouTube. But what about the other two? So it's essentially more like this is what I was creating when I was a kid, and I'll snap on an image which when I was doing these kind of drawings, like because I remember just having like all of these ideas, but didn't really know how to use them, and so that's where I just simply drew them. I had like story ideas, and I think maybe that's when I was getting on to script writing, but it was still extremely loose, and it was still, this was definitely like, um, everyone's like world apart pretty much. And whilst the image I would have placed, it's not extremely matching, but you can definitely see how some would be linked and inspired from one another. And this second one here, when I was doing the script writing stuff, and even this would be very matching of. I'll show you each poster actually, because I did each poster and I made it up to season 3 in terms of like the amount of episodes I was writing, and oh my gosh, it was quite a thrill that was. I'm still really pleased with some of these posters, as you can see, and definitely hints at some very interesting story ideas. There's a couple of new additions, like the skeleton and the tank, but I'll go through one individually in a bit. But this was like the cast at the time, but then that wore off. This would have worn off later in my college days because it was like first day at uni where, or like the early days where I just remember thinking, I'll strengthen this up a bit, and then every time I thought of an idea, it was benefiting more and more towards this newer version of that universe pretty much. And then it was the storybooks I created once uni was over. So weird how minds work. So you get the idea of how which one's which. So these two are very similar. These ones are quite abstract, but I thought it's a multiverse idea, if done well, could be rather cool. And there's a whole heap of variations as well. Like for instance, this universe will have a surviving Psy or one they haven't got around to defeating yet. And I just thought that thing that could be excellent to try and pull off. We'll get on to who everyone is, and I'll then go to the otters afterwards. But the way they're positioned is the same. Right, let's start with. Let's go with the original continuity. Just to be a bit more easier. So easy ones. Zami, lightning based. Not really the main character in this one, but however, Nicole. Seeing her in action, pretty much similar to the previous version, but still. Pod, I prefer this design more, and he's the new protagonist pretty much. The newer Dios, especially with the bigger portion. And this one's called Dios instead of Dion for in these other versions, but still got him here. Definitely the broader, better version. Pasnos, not very much different to the prior one, but still awesome. This is a Keo, even if it has the colour palette missing, but I just thought, let's add him back to the team. And like last time, the spirit martial artist. Thought it could be kind of cool to have the bone shapeshifter in this one, like a slightly edgier character. Thought it could be cool. and pretty much like the best Titran fighter or the one willing to go out. I think that's the idea I'm going for. I might still have Scape who's here, but I don't want to do any replications, so I think I'm gonna have like a proper good Titran fighter in this one. Apollo, similar to this one here. You can see how this one's much better in design, with the poncho and that. Yeah, he looks like it's just getting thinned out like multiple cores it's going through across. Anyway, multi-gun alien, you can see how he used to look like, but I thought, yeah, another long range one could be handy. Gloop, who's seen the animations, best shapeshifter ever. And then this is a normal gorilla with military gear. I just thought, yeah, that could be cool. And because the current continuity is going to explore the idea of the use of animals in combat and the protection of them and such. And this could be like something that Retron might have a go with, or maybe some other kind of human foe, but maybe this gorilla is still happy enough to do what he's trained to do, or the gear here he's having to wear. I really like the translation of the gorilla, by the way. Yeah, the 8-bit portion, yeah, looks rather cool. It was like a character I just had fun with, like making. I just thought, yeah, I just really like it. And then, yeah, Rockadian, looks like he's coming back after they lost theirs. So, yeah, he's going to be around. Yeah, the Rock being almost like another tank. Oh, yeah, that's his owner. Sorry, I thought. Because when he was somewhat spared in this version of the story, I then thought, what if he did make it? And then I've had him, make it, but he was going to pretty much be like a reluctant assistant for this Legion. So I just thought, yeah, that could actually be really interesting. Yeah, because it's not really rare in fiction in general, but just never really done in this universe ever, like any of them. So I thought, yeah, you know what? Yeah, it could be extremely cool. And then last one, we got a pointer dog. Yeah, German shorthair pointers are my favourite type of dog. So I just thought, yeah, let's make one. And it's translated okay. And yeah, I just thought, yeah, have a dog in it. Yeah, absolutely. And then I've got a Spike Win as well. I say a speedster, but there's particular types of super speed that varies between all versions. I think this one's going to be just a simple speed boost, like multiple ones. I think the closest comparison could be, like Tracer in Overwatch. This kind of speed boost, not too OP. That's kind of the approach. And then the other approaches will be probably So Fast is in his own illusion, and this one will just be um, a proper fast runner. Yeah, without like the super speed, supernatural aspect. Right, and then let's go on to the prior continuity. So, yep, Zami's basic design, Fletcher had multiple arrows, Nicole, who's much older in this version, Venlig, who was the rival, a resurrected Zime 4 race. Even he, I would like to have in this story eventually, but yeah, he's part of this team later at this point. There's Zivert with Outright Sword, a comedian who they must have befriended even before Pod's final story. And then his detective Aldata, Masashi who the would worked with, Gloop who was at the sequel, and yeah, definitely inferior to this one. Yeah, Rock Paul Alien with the water powers, yeah, like another tank sort of, Manila Soul, so yeah, fighting Elephant Seal that joins the team. And then yeah, the Diamond Axe wielder, you can see how probably is more preferable looking compared to what he ends up looking like. But yeah, just thought, yeah, nice addition. So yeah, I think because if you're wondering, I think these individuals they would have added after the sequel. That's kind of the idea. And as you might have seen, every side is almost the same with the numbers. But yeah, it could be a bit messy, but as long as it's well organised in some way, shape, or form, then we'll see how it goes. But you can see some parallels, like for instance, let's go for a different colour. This one, because purple doesn't exist elsewhere. Yeah, a load of pods, Nicoles, Zummies, and a tank in some way, shape, or form. So you can definitely see how there's parallel and how it goes outwards in each direction with all of them. So yeah, they're all parallel, like all the Titrans and the spikers are at the beach corner as well. So yeah, you can definitely see, like I said, just some kind of parallel thing that happens here. But anyway, so that's the more familiar ones recently. Sorry, I need to find my thing again. Where is it? There it is. All right, and let's start with the first one first. All right, so like I said, first one first. So Zami did used to be a human, and before I go hop into the lightning, he was just almost like the definitive gadget man. And so yeah, and Nicole used to be the Legion's founder, hence why she's in a dress. But I don't think anyone in the military should wear a dress. But never mind, just all like the updated look. That's Atos. So one of the animations, the 3D one, it's that guy. Yeah, because he was like the tank character who had a tragic backstory, and I like the way it's translated here, and yeah, the definitive sword user of this whole thing really. So yeah, definitely existed earlier on. There were times where he probably would have been in this continuity as well, but I thought, yeah, I better update it, to make it a bit more tidier compared to elsewhere. This is King Fight, I think he used to call him. He used to have, blades, and he was like a tougher human, like tougher than normal. This is an early version of the Titron. You can see how it's reminiscent of the Digging Alien, but that's what Titron used to look like, the thing itself. And yeah, he looks nice. This is Mark the Affiniter. He's pretty much like me as a fantasy character, but I did update him, with a unique sword. I did a cape. So yeah, when you like think of like your most stereotypical fairy tale protagonist, yeah, he's pretty much that. Yeah, I've had the Barretts to absorb powers. He's pretty much like a Porro, except Porro's like a bit more less abstract and could just absorb anything, but he still had loads of abilities. And Dion used to be a cyborg, a pretty powerful one. So yeah, used to be human. So yeah, there you go, there he is. This is Cell. He's pretty much like a digital character that could travel through computers, definitely can shrink and clone, had his own little dimension in computers, something along those lines. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, Drahun, yeah, used to look like that first. Yeah, the dragon design. We'll get to him in a bit, but yeah, he's obsessed with the dragon, and yeah, I really like the 8-bit look. That's Out Knight. Yeah, did appear in the sequel in this story, but before he was just like a demon fighter essentially, until I got rid of all of that dark supernatural stuff. Yeah, you would have seen that on one of the posters, but I just didn't really see that Halloween theme might fit with the rest of the story anymore. But I still like the design nonetheless. Nico wants to see how this translated a drawing of mine, which I'll slap on. Yeah, this is Robot John, I used to call him. A character I've made a very long time ago, and yeah, very like normal-ish robot drew, but yeah, now I've updated him, and he just looks like a nice, more basic robot. So I just thought, yeah, he's rather cool. That's Swordfish's first design. He's now a Numian in this continuity, but he's more like a superpowered human with these cybernetic legs and yeah, like the fin shield and the sword. I think he still had like swordfish abilities somewhere, shape or form, but yeah, half man, half machine. Yeah, I still like him as the fighter. Quadruped, he's pretty much human until he got infected. It is a temporary second form he can go in and out of, but it is like probably the biggest character in this whole roster. And you can see like the clothes, human clothes. But yeah, this was a creature I once came up with before. Yeah, really cool too. Oh yeah, because I think he will be used in this continuity as well, but I would have to make sure it makes some differences because because if doing this multiverse idea, it means maybe redoing all of that pentology, but rebooted in a more briefer way. But it just means working with like the more inferior block of Zamian soup. So, but yeah, I think it still would be good to do. Like 4 different types of continuities. I think it's possible. Anyway, going back to that, so Axtron, I'll slap on an image. His design greatly wore out on me. It's very basic, too similar to Robot John. And because drilling isn't my favourite superpower ever, I've seen it been done in fun areas, like Mario with the drilling, and also Armadillo from Ben 10. Also a Pokemon I've seen once. Yeah, drilling does have its own fun bits and bobs, but you can see how those drilling types haven't really carried through. But after messing around with the design, I then managed to update Axtron in a way that's similar in robotics, but just very unique, and it's carried over the colour scheme, which I've really like. And you can see how the colour scheme is pretty much very similar all throughout all four continuities. And so yeah, really happy with his look. Yeah, the drilling robot is back. Yeah, because I had to, because the whole elemental thing, because Axtron was originally going to be destroyed and then rebuilt using her motor, which makes him far more powerful than just a drilling robot. It's still an idea I quite like, even though all those years later. Alright, so finally we've got two ladies here who I simply call Stargirl and Aquamarine. And Aquamarine was the goddess of water in this continuity, which means my own gods in that kind of sense. But the gods as shown here are a bit more animal inspired. But I just thought, it could be cool to bring them back here with the being powerful with water abilities. And Stargirl is can fly and shoot lasers, space travel. And I still remember when originally drawing her, especially with the quiff in her hair, she reminded that I was inspired by a singer called Polygenova who took part in Eurovision in 2016. Yeah, she was in the top 10, if not the top 5, most deservedly. So because I really loved the song, so I just thought, I'd just create a character like based on not only Polygenova's look, but just the whole cosmic. Cosmic's the wrong word when listening to that song, but I definitely wanted to turn that feeling into a character, and so there you go. You can see how all of this is very fancy and abstract. You can see how all of these ideas were improved, but when revisited, I think that could be a lot of fun. Alright, so Zami and the Gadgets was still maintained, even with the whole maybe going with the lightning thing, but I did also create a really cool alien called Zybas who I'll slap on as well. Definitely had their reptilian look, especially with the lightning all around. And I just thought, I better make this Zami a bit more unique compared to the others. And that has helped me inspire the new Zami design in the 4th continuity here. I just can't believe he was just a normal grey-skinned alien in this one. His face is nice and straightforward, but it's just so lackluster compared to the others. And even if the design is a bit much, I still can see like all the glowing happening. I think it's the hair that's kind of getting to me as well. Oh my god, it's nearly the same as here. But I used to have the soldier character Mike. By the way, you can see how every gun is different, which is rather cool. Anyway, Mike here, the soldier, he's wearing an exosuit, which was really cool. I had a couple of fun with that idea. So it's like a more enhanced soldier. Who I've wrote in a couple of times, and it's Nicole who pretty much they swap places essentially, as they both had to change the design as well. But that's what he used to look like at first. And then this was Pod originally, Beluga Whale. I've updated him more, so it might still have the gadgets like the jet ski, which could be rather cool. And as you can see, a much longer trident to vary it a bit more. So maybe the water gadgets. I can see that being cool and that. But because this one's more inspired by the scripts I used to do. Not public, by the way. This would be him instead of Atar, but I can still see him being possible. Links. He was a Nemean, and just used to, choose a Blink spirit and have a wear a suit armor inspired by Links, and it's you can see how the influence is somewhat carried across with the shape, and definitely inspired by one of the better drawings which I'll put on. So yeah, that character went through many design changes. I still like the idea, especially with the idea of claws. But yeah, how did I go from? Oh, that's quite a mystery. Because even Hellwolf mainly came from Red Wolf. He was like another character from this guy's own world. Yeah, like with the headwear and that. Yeah, how did I get from there? Who knows? Anyway, yeah, this is what Dion used to look like at one point. Yeah, definitely made him look more mechanical and gadget heavy. Definitely hefty in his own way. Yeah, definitely had that colour combination, which was all slap on as well. And then this one's essentially a frog. I forgot his name, but this one, and this one, they were a trio of aliens. Oh yeah, well actually no, more like a team of 4 aliens that because the Legion had their own team, and then there were those aliens, and so yeah, and then includes yeah the small frog one that can jump about, shrink, yeah, frog inspired, and it can clone. Uh, One version of Bionate at one point, Cosmic was like the definitive normal alien, yeah, with the like the stereotypical cartoon sci-fi approach. Definitely like his updated design compared to how I used to make him. And then this is pretty much, I'm hesitant to make a living tank, but I think it could be like a robot with like some personality. I just really like. I'm just a big fan of tanks in general, but I just really like turning the tank into with some intelligence, with an eye and that. Yeah, it's just really cool. Oh yeah, Spike, if you're wondering. So yeah, all of them have the shells, but this one has a long range weapon. Yeah, could shoot as he zooms around, so it makes him stand out. Definitely a smaller variation of the lot. Yeah, this one's like a bigger speedster, which is not very common in media. So yeah, I just thought that could be cool. And oh yeah, for Titran, you can see how this design carried over, and you can also see how big he was in the storybook. Well, he was a temporary giant in that one version of the story, which I saw the poster of not long ago. I cycled all of those posters. Yeah, made him more energy-like, maybe more monstrous. Definitely still speechless. Yeah, thicker than the others, bigger than the others. Yeah, I just thought, yeah, that's a good way to make him stand out. And yeah, this one I thought because when I had like the Halloween aspect to the story at one point, the Halloween aspect was fire inspired as well. Oh yeah, because of the fire element, I think it was. So it was like a way to make fire stand out, which lost my appeal in the end. But yeah, it did also have skeletons that did come about, and it looks like it did befriend one of them. So I just thought, yeah, that's a cool idea. Yeah, definitely an idea I've made, very, very recently. And that's Luke, pretty much your everyday vigilante because it's like a motorcycle outfit, it's repurposed. Because he was a fan favourite character, fan favourite, well, he was a character I really like. And so, because in this continuity, he was going to be like another foil to the Legion, and he was going to be Retron's son, but he was rejected because he too was like slightly mutated for being like very strong and that. But yeah, I couldn't really like fit it in. Maybe in the new one, but and he could even carry over in this universe in some way, shape, or form. But and yeah, also a very cool design, which I'm very happy with. He's gone through many variations, which I'll show one of. Yeah, really happy with how he looks here. So yeah, as the cape looks strong. Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, he's just very strong. That's like his main gist. And then yeah, here's Akio. So I think that's one instance where he used to look like until the most recent look here. He even was human at one point, but I think yeah, I just thought it was better to make them a bit more alien-like. And yeah, there was a whole heap of other ninja characters. I mentioned Red Wolf, who later inspired Hellwolf. But yeah, just one what he used to look like at one point. I'll show the image, and yeah, definitely like a alien ninja in some way. So yeah, kind of cool. Then to your left, yeah, the same dragon which you've seen in a animation from years ago. Yeah, the grey dragon aspect, almost like the. Oh my gosh, would he be lightning too? No, it would have to be fire if Izami was going to be the definitive lightning character. But yeah, because the difference between the I did change between one dragon design to the next. And then this was Bill. He was pretty much like the protagonist, young lad. He gained some kind of supernatural power, and he did have one baton, but now he has two. And he had the power of grappling hooks like plasma-based ones, which I might still carry over as an idea, but I'll have to wait and see once I bring him to life in animations. And that pretty much covers all four continuities. I won't conclude this, but let's just go on to pretty much the rest of the multiverse stuff. Alright, so yeah, to finish up the whole multiverse lot, and I'll help differentiate in sections. So first continuity, second, third and fourth, and I'll even number them like that. Go. So yeah, at first I used to come up with many otters with all sorts of abilities, like in comic books when there's just like a whole heap of types of individuals, like aliens, humans, superhumans, powered animals, a group of them. Yeah, I just remember going all out in this one. But after having another look at this lot, I then thought, yeah, if I just choose the favourites and then see how I go from there. And yeah, it has made the first continuity very exciting. And to go through each specifics one, sorry. Yeah, this one is like a plant-based one. Had maybe like a interest in plant-based toxins, and yeah, he used to have like the designs weren't too bad at looking back, as I'll show you, but yeah, this one, as you can see, is a bit more of a plant-themed toxic otter in so much, shape, or form. They've gone I kind of like even those little bits. They could be like bits to charge up the weapon. This one's like a shuriken thrown otter, and the shurikens aren't the best translated, but as like one of the more generic ones, yeah, having like these massive shurikens, I think that still could be a load of fun. I've often had this otter with a hammer, and yeah, I think the hammer might still have like a jet to it, and yeah, I just thought, yeah, it could be still cool to use it. I really like the look of the hammer as well, because yeah, iron's different. This one's like a sniper otter. Yeah, because did I just in case it's on my Instagram, I once drew an otter that looks very alike, Deadshot, from DC, and yeah, the drawing sucks. But yeah, definitely had it with more unique design over the years, and yeah, this new one I really like. Yeah, even this part right here, it's like a head mask and a proper sniper looking gun as well. So yeah, just yeah, really happy with that kind of idea. This one's meant to be a robotic otter, and whilst I probably would have changed the bottom half of his face, yeah, it still has the machine gun. So quite reminiscent of Orpheum, but probably a bit more abstract considering what the universe is like. This one's like a flamethrower based otter, and he's probably inspired by other flamethrower characters who I've created before. And yeah, I'm definitely really happy with how this one looks. Looks like a chunky one as well, to which, yeah, I'm up for it. This one is like this one hasn't really separated well. Yeah, the next one is pretty much the like an explosive otter. Yeah, he's got a grenade launcher, and so yeah, no, I really like his helmet as well. Just like for protection. This one's an ice-based otter, so I think he does have like gadgets to help spray something like liquid nitrogen that. Yeah, I think that could be like rather cool, and yeah, it has like a protective suit. This one's phase with a pH. Yeah, because I did once come up with a not time, more like just some kind of dimensional traveling otter, and it's an idea I'm still open to for this one, but well, probably a good lot of them in some way, shape, or form, but yeah, just like I said, just very abstract, but it does have my favourite look, and he was cool enough to be like the second otter I've added onto like character posters, such as this one I put on right now. And then this one's the Ninja Otter, with the sword and the darker suit. Yeah, super cool. And then I once had an otter who had the ability to use a gadget to like charge face first into it. Like, you know how strong trains are when you um you know, when you know, like especially when trains have like that front part and they're just like pretty much unstoppable with anything in its way. It's just like that, but an otter instead with a gadget, bulldozing gadget. Anyway, and then yeah, in the second continuity, the only otter I could keep track of, especially when looking at those posters, were these tribal otters, only that kind and with the bow and arrow. Yeah, and Arvin pretty much took his place as like the animal psychic. Yeah, especially when Arvin had the temporary evolution abilities, but that was then given to Hellwolf to make that one better. And all right, and then oh yeah, these otters I've gone through in the guide, so I won't do it again. But it's pretty much the 13, well 14, because the one prehistoric one there. Yeah, all of them having their own um, unique look. I'll go over it quickly actually. Giant, forgot that one. Maybe the North American, no, that one's the North American one. Asian short clawed, Congo clawless, Eurasian, marine, southern river, sea, neotropical, hairy nose. That could be the smooth coated one actually, and then that one's the Congo clawless and Cape clawless. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, got it. I think no. Where's the spotted neck otter? I think it must be that one. Yeah, wow, I still remember all of them, and that's a bottom of room. One of the few prehistoric otters that exists. I forgot to add on that that four-legged prehistoric otter. I'll slap an image of it in the sequel comic. Yeah, he was there. Predec, I think his name was. Yeah, it's like a big cat or an otter. Yeah, I would like to carry him over here as well. But you can also see how this type of otter is carried over. Still like the idea, even the neotropical otter being like the beefy one. The giant otter that can grow into a giant, still like him. And then this one's going to be a mixture of both Baku and not Genova. Who was the main otter protagonist called in the otter comic? I'm not sure. But I wanted to put in both characteristics together and yeah, just make a more rounded character. And then some river otter I decided to carry over, especially with the crocodile thing. That means the third type of crocodile in this world, but it could even be like the prehistoric one. That could be cool. And yeah, slightly different compared to that one. But yeah. And then because as hinted at as in the guide, I still like the idea of military otters, especially when they were partially a thing here. I think there were like these main ones plus all of these superpowered ones. But yeah, in this one, yeah, I just got the normal soldier otter with blade and a smaller gun, and then it's a giant otter with a mini gun, which hasn't been translated to the best, but there you go. And yeah, just all around it, extremely cool. And yeah, that pretty much takes it to the end of this video. So yeah, we've gone through what the world map is like, how I want to make it, and by watching this you'll definitely get an idea of how a lot of it's located, what alien races we'll encounter, why we encounter them, what they're going to be like, what's their abilities if they are superpowered. And then when you get onto the multiverse idea, then also like a small introduction with everyone. And whilst you will be far more familiar with the prior version if you've gone into it, with the other twos, well, with the other two pretty much existing in just those many drawings and those early Instagram posts of mine. But yeah, it would just be like just great to expand on, just the lot. Yeah, the multiverse idea. Like I know we all know how multiverse stories have been popularized recently, and but I'll definitely make sure that it's done well in a way that makes sense, such as how they first appear, and I think they would all come into the fourth continuity, even if it could be worth exploring the other continuities a bit. And I think they would have to vanish through thin air. I think, yeah, it just seems to light vanish through thin air and then appear somewhere at random. I see that as like the most logical way because I can't really think of how to do that with a portal. Oh, actually, maybe like a airborne portal could work. Yeah, something along those lines. You'd just like to make that work, and I won't go too deep into well, I say don't go too deep with like universes colliding, but it won't um, like the trespassing into one of the universes. I won't have that as an existing thing. It's going to be just like the threats to any of them. That's where the stakes are going to come from, not a kind of stake of, oh dear, if you're on the wrong universe, the reality will start collapsing. Like, I don't want to go there. I just, yeah, I just want to make the stakes just like very manageable, just to allow the multiverse lot to occur. But you have to come back to all of these old characters or old versions of characters. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the lot, and also just making more of these new films. And yeah, so with my hand fixed, you'll be seeing many of these more of the short films, and I'll still be doing commentaries for the next chapter of films that come along, groups of them, such as the new Clan film, and so yeah, and yeah, and I think I mentioned this before, where I'm still happy with the film commentaries I've done for the films that never really been given that kind of in-depth analysis until I came along. But I'm still happy that I was the one to cover the lot for them. But yeah, I better stick with what I want to do for yeah, what I want to do with the rest of my time on YouTube. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. A load of insight as the new films come along, and so yeah, I'll see you next time.